Howdy folks, welcome to episode 46 of Bonfire Man. Here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, that means I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been so exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire refreshes or unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the old and new chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape. According to my estimates, I think that's going to take about 10,000 hours to complete. If you're interested in all the specifics, minutiae, minor rules, exceptions, that kind of a thing, there's a Google Doc in the description that lists all of that. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough. Okay, so the chunk this episode's not super exciting. It's Jiggig, which is down here, and I don't think there's anything we can do there because we can't do Zogre Flesh Eaters. I am making a slight rule adjustment to the way quest works with regard to lighting the bonfire and 100% completing chunks, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's go ahead and cross the fog wall here. All right, crossing the fog wall into Jiggig. Zogre Dance has been unlocked, all right, and let's light the bonfire. Oh, I'm saved. I'm saved. I had no idea. Oh, thank God. Ogres won't be happy if you light a fire here. I was so bummed about this chunk because I couldn't get away with skipping it under any circumstances, and all that's really here are achy trees, but can't light a fire. I can't light a fire. Oh, oodalali. That's exciting. Okay, so I still need to do the stuff that's here. I'm going to work on that really quick, and then once it's done, we'll roll another chunk. All right, so here are the tasks that are potentially in Jiggig. Skogres, Zogres, neither of which I can get to because I think you have to start Zogre Flesh Eaters to get in there, and I don't have a high enough herb lore level to enter. So I wouldn't be able to do anything of that. I couldn't do any of the ogre coffins either. So literally the only thing I was going to be able to do here was trees, achy trees, and the oaks. So I'm going to work on that now. This is another fun, like, who has ever cared about lighting a fire here at Jiggig, right? So it's kind of fun that this account really cares about that specific error message and the handful of places they force it. Just checking, nothing on the edge of this chunk. It looks like I chopped all 5 of the regular oak logs. Mark those done. Find 7 more achy trees. I don't know if any of them, I don't think any of them are inside that area. I think they're all on the side over here. All right, I think this is the last one. Obviously the chunk isn't complete because there's all kinds of other stuff to do in there, but I can't light a bonfire, so we're skipping the rest of this. I guess I'll chop these from cycle to cycle. Let me pop back over into the chunk picker. Thank God, I was really demotivated by this chunk roll. Watch me get one that's like equally bad. Okay, I still need to do the like chunk analysis. My plan was to do that during my first shooting star for the cycle. So there's still a lot of, I need to clean up all of the icons here, but let's just go ahead and roll a new chunk really quick. That's the one we just got. This would be a re-roll. Gutenoth would kind of suck. And the Smoke Devil Dungeon, I'm gonna have to make a ruling if we roll it because there's nothing new on the surface technically that we could do right now, but there is the Smoke Devil Dungeon that we will probably never do on this account, and since it's a subsurface chunk, it tracks separately. Let's cross the bridge when we get to it instead of freaking out about rules now. Pick chunk. Oh, all right. This is definitely one of my most wanted chunks. We don't have herb lore unlocked because of this. We still have to get into the Taverley dungeon, which is unfortunately just to the south. If it was like a hair further up, we would be good here. But we can start Druidic Ritual. I need to review what all else is here and update my documents and stuff, so I'll be right back. All right, crossing the fog wall. Here we go, crossing in. Splendor, music track unlocked. Okay. Hey folks, Future Marstead here. I just edited out about 20 minutes of discussion about the Taverley chunk because it's all moot for a reason you're about to discover. Let's go see what that is, and then I'll come back and talk about it a little bit. All right, you probably just saw a cut there. Guess what, everybody? Guess what? Can you believe it? The dwarves won't be happy if you light a fire here. Oh my god, this is the greatest day of my life. I am so happy. Oh, that's 2 bonfire skips in a row due to the fire mechanic. I need to like look up all the locations where fires can't be lit. I think somebody posted one in a YouTube comment a while ago. I don't know that all of them are perfectly known, but yeah, this is great. This is super cool. I'm gonna go ahead and do all the exhaustible content. We can actually do Witch's House, so I will do that later. Since we don't need to do quests for skipping the bonfire, I just want to like get the next cycle running. So let me get everything chopped here. But holy crap. Yeah, I had this big spiel about the druid in this chunk, because the druid in this chunk was the only thing that was really stopping me from just skipping the bonfire here anyway. And that's what got deleted in the jump cut there once I went to go light the bonfire, and I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I will probably do a tedious Marstead ramble in an episode before this one. You've likely already heard me talk about the druid and other similar NPCs, because I think that for future cycles, I am going to have to clarify how NPCs with boring drop tables work. I've already hinted at how that works, but I haven't fully clarified it because it hasn't become relevant until this chunk. But it doesn't matter because I can't light a bonfire here anyway, so I don't even have to like wring my hands over it. Cool. Hey, it's future me again. So we have already talked about that clarification on what makes an enemy a new enemy. Just to restate it quickly here. For a creature to count as new and force a bonfire light, it has to either drop a new resource or tool that we previously didn't have access to, or if it drops equipment, that equipment has to be an upgrade or a side grade to equipment we already have access to. Or if neither of those things are true, it has to be a new Slayer task. So the Druid drop table is a great example of one that would not force a bonfire to be lit. In this case, it doesn't matter because I physically can't light one in Taverley anyway, but just as an example for the future. We already have access to everything that the Druid drops from other sources, except for the Druid robes, but the Druid robes are a downgrade from the Shade robe top and bottom that we already have access to from the Stronghold of Security. This is pretty necessary because there's a lot of junk in RuneScape that it drops Fashionscape items or unique one-off items that don't do anything, that don't actually progress the account. But again, in this case, it doesn't matter because we can't light a bonfire here anyway. Back to the playthrough. All right, just working on the trees here. I might have to port out, and I guess I can go over to the robes then really quick and get my combat equipment to fight the druids, monks of Zamorak, and the white knights here. I will not be able to get to those trees. Those are on the other side of the Heroes Guild door. Don't think this tree back here is accessible, so we'll find out here in a second. Oh, maybe it is. Okay, disregard. Kill the white knight here, which only drops bones. Oh no, this didn't reset successfully. All right, well, I'll try to fix it. I need easy Falador to get over here, so I don't think I can fight any of those guys, but 1, I can't light the bonfire, and 2, they're not new, so it's fine. Runelight did make a chains recently. I just reset the loot tracker, so the White Knight won't show on the list. I'll just remember that got reset that way. But they made a change recently with profile that kind of breaks the way that I reset my object indicators. So hopefully there aren't other unexpected issues like that where like old loot rears its ugly head in the tracker. I guess we'll find out. Oh my god, this is like the luckiest day. Finally got my genie. Fantastic. This is like the luckiest day ever. We're gonna get Hunter 17 out of this. Beautiful. You can now catch baby implings, and we will. So technically, since we hit Hunter 17, we just got a really lucky genie there at the last second before lighting a bonfire. I'm still technically in the previous cycle. Everything else is still exhausted. I might want to go do Puro Puro before I light the bonfire, before rolling the new chunk that we're actually gonna, light a bonfire in, because then I would be able to do Puro Puro twice and actually start catching implings. So I guess I have to go over my rules for implings now that I'm actually 17 Hunter. Talk about that in a second though. Let me kill these druids. All right, this is the last druid over here. Go ahead and tag all of them. Okay, druids are done. There's technically a dead tree in the witch's house. I wonder if that's even a choppable tree. I guess I could start the quest to get in there. I technically have to. Pretty sure all of Witch's house is completable from this chunk, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, looks like I need cheese and gloves, so I'm gonna grab those real quick and come back. Quest is short enough. I'm just gonna do the whole quest. If I get in there to that tree, I'll have already done most of it, so. Okay, moment of truth. Can I actually chop down this tree? If I can, I will be the first person ever to have done it. Almost certainly. Oh, it's not reachable. Those aren't pathable tiles. Okay, so that is not a real tree. Got it. Almost certainly the first person to have tried, at least. Very funny. All right, grabbing the shed key from the fountain here. All right, witches experiments. This should be trivial. Oh, which can spot me on the way out. No kidding. Okay, all done. Let's pick up the ball and get out of here. It's really funny that you can't even path to that tree. I didn't even know you couldn't walk in the same area as the witch. It's crazy. I'm guessing very few people have actually tried to walk there. Like, why would you, right? You would just get caught. Oh, this one's worth 4 quest points. I didn't realize that. I don't think that's going to be enough to be able to do Tears of Guthix. Yeah, because that's like... There's other things we need for Tears of Guthix, but that's also like 40 quest points. All right, 6,325 hit points XP. Not super relevant right now. So that's done. Witch's House. I can't do Hero's Quest or Druidic Ritual. I could start it, though. I probably will. I've got a couple more trees to chop. Build this easy stash real fast. I don't need to, but I may as well since I'm here. So I can't get to any of the dead trees. There's one there that's literally inaccessible and 3 behind the Heroes Guild that I can't get to now. I can't get to the Monks of Zamorak, and there's a couple more evergreens back there that I can't reach. So I'll try to get those numbers updated for tracking purposes. But I am going to head to Puro now. Okay, so I gotta go find the wheat field and then hop constantly until I see a portal to Puro. Oh, there's a crowdsourced plugin for this. Let's see if it actually works here. Yeah, okay, that's pretty helpful. Center of Crop Circle. Our first time coming here. You understand more about magical wheat. Impetuous. Okay, so we need to get our items here. I think I can get a free net and jars. All right, spare equipment get. I can catch each of the baby impling spawns in here once, so I think I can just do that through traditional tagging. I'm going to try to make that work here. Oh, I don't get... Actually, maybe I don't need to do this anymore. I think there was just a patch that maybe saved me from having to do all the wheat. Because I'm not getting strength XP, and I didn't tell him to turn it off. That was my original plan, was I was going to do it once and then turn it off, but I'm not getting strength XP at all. Did they just disable it? Google it here in a second. First ever impling getting away on the account, not getting caught, apparently. Oh, if I tag them, it doesn't stack with my other thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to count how many I catch, I suppose. Okay, finally caught the first one here. Okay, so there are 13 dedicated baby impling spawns down here, so I'm just gonna catch 13 baby implings. I think that's the only thing I can really do that makes any sense right now. All right, so I've caught 7 implings, which is the number of jars I started with. I'm gonna go over and turn these in for more jars. So yeah, it looks like just this past patch, they made it so that you can still get strength XP from these, but you have to opt into it, and you're opt out by default. So I don't know if that means I don't have to push through them and that they're not exhaustible resources. I was already planning to just kind of use them as needed, but if there's no XP at all and there's no XP by default, I might just save that task for 100% completing this chunk. I don't know that we'll ever 100% complete this chunk. I don't know our hunter level will ever get high enough for that to even be physically possible, but if they're not giving XP when I first come in here and it's not even an option and that I have to opt into, then they're not an exhaustible resource, right? Okay, I just turned all of my initial 7 baby implings into jars just to make sure that I have plenty. I can technically buy them very expensively if I run out, but I'm going to try to leave like a 0 balance of at least 10 inside here at all times, just in case something ever goes wrong. So I've caught 7. I need to get 6 more. There's not really anything terribly exciting on the baby impling drop table that I don't already have access to. I think the only item that I can't get otherwise is spice, but I can technically get everything else. So I might just bank these for now. We'll see. Okay, so I'm still waiting for the chunk picker to add the new impling spawn mechanics that made it to the wiki. But here's the very short version of it. Impling spawn locations are known in their entirety now, and they're established in the wiki. They're in the process of getting added to the chunk picker. There are a set number of low-tier impling spawns. Low-tier implings include baby, young, gourmet, earth, essence, and eclectic implings. In Puro, there are 21 low-tier impling spawns, which means every cycle I can catch 21 baby and young and gourmet and earth and essence and eclectic implings down here, on top of the static spawns in Puro. And then also there are low-tier impling spawns in the overworld. I'm just going to count the number of low-tier spawns I have access to in my unlocked chunks, and that's going to be the cap that I can catch for each kind of low-tier impling. So let's say, I haven't done the math yet, but let's say there are 7 available low-tier impling spawns in my unlocked chunks. That means I could catch 7 baby implings, 7 young implings, 7 gourmet implings, etc. per cycle. I probably won't get up to that number because I won't be able to find that many on the surface, but those are the caps that I'm going to work around. All right, so I've caught all 13 static spawns. So now I'm just looking for the variable spawns, of which there are 21 possible low tier in Burrow Purrow. So 21 more baby implings and we're out of here. Honestly, since I don't care about the drop table for baby implings at all, I might just turn all of these into jars just to make sure I have a steady supply of them forever. Get 18 hunter. I don't think I've ever accessed this menu before, but you can get it whenever you right click on a butterfly net, and this should help me keep track of what I'm catching. So 34 baby implings in Burrow Purrow is the objective. Then I'll figure out what the surface count is. All right, I just need one more baby impling. Hopefully it's this one. There we go. 34. Cool. And then I'll worry about I'm not going to go catch any surface ones before we roll another chunk here. I'll figure that out next cycle. All right, we got to pop over to the chunk picker again because Taverly's done. That's all we can do there, and we can't light a bonfire. We get to roll another chunk. Let's go do it now. All right, we're back in the chunk picker. I still need to do my analysis. Let's just go ahead and roll the chunk and see what we get. I think that's another reroll, isn't it? Oh man, what a day. There's 24 trees there, so I do have to pop over there real quick. Okay, that's fine. All right, here we are at the chunk border. Let's go ahead and cross the fog wall again. How many are we gonna get this episode? Okay, cool. I just gotta chop all these trees. There's like 24 of them. As usual with Soul Isle, a couple trees that are just decorative that you can't actually reach, like those two. I'm just gonna try to check very carefully. I don't think I can get to this one either, but I'll see if I can fit all the way around on the top. I don't think you can. Yeah, I can't get up to this tree on the hill or any of those three. Those are completely inaccessible. Get up on that bluff somewhere? I don't think you can. I know there's a bird that spawns up there, but I don't think there's actually any way to reach it. Yeah, because those trees block you from going to the west there. It looks like you can't even get to that tree if I had the chunk to the north, so this isn't chunk blocked. Because even if I could fit through that little gap there, I wouldn't be able to make it. Yeah, there's no way up on that bluff at all. Okay, so victory achieved. Southwest Soul Isle is done. I was only able to get 19 logs, not 24, because the other trees are all inaccessible. Okay, let's go back to the chunk picker again. And this is an absolutely wild episode. Let's pick a chunk here. South Taverly would make me so happy to finally have Herblore. Ent Forest Shore. Just getting all the rerolls today. There's literally nothing there. I guess I'll go cross the fog wall, but there's literally nothing there. All right, chunk border again. Let's cross the fog wall again. Underground. There's a music track here. That's the only thing that's here. None of these trees are real. There's nothing to chop. No NPCs to fight. This technically makes the green dragon chunk rollable, so that's maybe interesting. But otherwise, this place is just empty and just serves as access to this area up here. Don't think I can reach those green dragons from down here. No. Okay, back to the chunk picker. How long can we keep this up is the question. Let's pick a chunk. Port Khazard. Okay, finally. This is going to be our chunk. I had this as a bronze crown, so it was like my 7th most wanted chunk or something like that. You can do the fishing trawler mini game, which is kind of cool. What else do we have here? Do I finally have... Oh yeah, I finally have charter ship traders. That's going to be a pretty big deal going forward. Cool. Link. Anvil, bank chest, clay, cooking pot, copper rocks, crates. There's a decent mine here. I don't think I've ever known that there was stuff to mine in this area. No kidding. Okay. Yeah, so I think the only real new thing here, other than the shops, which normally wouldn't count, would be fishing trawler, but that's a significant mini game, so we're not gonna like not count this and say this is a reroll chunk. There are quests that take place here, and the Mogre camp is accessible from here, but only during Recipe for Disaster, so I can't do that yet. So yeah, fishing trawler, cool. I don't think fishing trawler has a associated chunk on the surface. I can double check really quick. I think it just goes straight into an instance, so we don't have to roll another chunk to get in there. I'll click around and make 100% sure that's true. But yeah, let's pop over to Port Khazard. Okay, so it's the minigame teleport to fishing trawler. Here we go. crossing the fog wall. Here we are. Fanfare 3. Okay, Port Cont'd. This shop is so huge. I've been close to rolling one of these shops for a really long time. Also, well, I think I always want to turn my rusty weapons into things. I do not want to sell them. I think I have to sell at least one for a diary step, so maybe I'll do that. Yeah, these guys selling pineapples is a big deal because I can use those to make super compost, and I can do it every cycle now. At least one super compost, so I can only buy 15 at a time. Other stuff is not so useful, but I suppose this also means that I unlock everywhere the charter ship can travel to, so I have to look up what the options are for that. I think it's possible all of these are already unlocked, except for Corsair Cove. So I'll look at the chunk picker here in a second and try to double check that. Oh, I gotta light the bonfire. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So here we go. Bonfire lit, and of course, let's rest at it. Cool. Okay, everything has respawned in other areas, finally, after all that. I gotta go ahead and set up the cycle for Port Cont'd, but I think we can 100% complete it now, because I think we can mine everything, we can do fishing trawler once, and we can interact with all the exhaustibles. We won't be able to go to the Mogre camp, but as a subsurface chunk, that gets tracked separately anyway. So yeah, that means that we'll be able to buy out that shop stock every cycle, which is a huge deal. So I gotta spend some time here setting up the goal tracker. Might even be a shooting star that spawns here. Let's see. Oh my god, it just spawns in the chunk border. That's amazing. Okay, cool. Well, I need to finish the chunk to be able to mine it to depletion, but I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I'll tap it. I may as well while I'm here. Thanks, S-Jill. I was telling S-Jill about the chunk I just rolled. It's like, hey, you should check to see if the star spawns there. It might be just on the chunk boundary, and it totally is. Just barely. I'm just gonna tap it once. Get one stardust from it, and then I guess I'll mine the rest of this stuff. And I'll give you a summary of the tasks here. Okay, I've got the tasks updated. It's 2 regular trees, 21 dead trees, and oak, some clay, copper, tin, iron, mithril, the fishing trawler minigame, which I think is pretty straightforward. We can just do 1 per cycle. I wanted to make sure that it was still mathematically reasonable to get the entire angler set, and I think we should get it within about 50 games or 50 cycles, and there's definitely going to be 50 cycles left on the account. So 1 in 12 is pretty reasonable to only do it once per cycle, I think. And then the charter shop and the general store. So I'm going to get working on that here in a sec. Oh, I went ahead and added the shooting star that I plinked really quickly. So we're going to work on mining first, I guess. Really weird mining nodes here. Like a random mithril ore back here. Okay. I think this is the 1 oak that's registered as being in this chunk. Yeah, I guess it does. It does exist in this chunk, doesn't it? Okay. Done. So I was a little nervous about this corner over here that I wouldn't be able to get here due to not having the adjacent chunk unlocked, but it looked like there is a little path for me to fit in here, thankfully. Another one of those mines that I assume nobody uses. Maybe they'll come here for the shooting star and that's about it. 3 little island dead trees here. Okay. Why are these even here? I guess it looks cool. Okay, I have done everything that there is to do in Port Cont'd proper. I haven't done fishing trawler or checked out the shops yet, so I'm going to work on that now. The shopkeeper does sell 5,000 swamp paste, which I don't think is terribly useful outside of this minigame. Another 30 ropes is pretty good too, and another source of buckets. This is an infinite source of buckets since the shop stock is going to become available after this. I know I need the swamp paste for fishing trawler, but I guess that'll also be convenient for Shades of Morton whenever we unlock it. All right, popped out for my first shooting star over here. Here we go. Desperately need this AFK. All right, I'm still here mining this shooting star, but I wanted to show you all of my surface implings that are available to me. All right, so I went through all of my unlocked chunks and compared them to the wiki's new list of low-tier impling spawns. I'm only going to worry about the low-tier spawns right now because they're the only ones I can catch. So there's definitely spawns at the Champions Guild over here, the Lumbridge Cow Pen, the Ham Hideout area, the Alcaride Mine, Karamja Volcano. So there's technically one that spawns in Ice Mountain over here, but it's in the chunk that I've unlocked. So if it were to wander down, I could catch it. North Taverley, which we just got. Asgardian Road and the Monastery Wilderness chunk, there's one that just barely spawns right here. Technically, there's also a few that spawn right on the border of where I can access. Namely, that's Polnivneach, the Bedabin Camp, Castle Wars, the Sinclair Mansion, and the Falador South Wall. So out of an abundance of caution, rather than saying I can catch 14 imps per cycle, I'm going to catch 9 surface imps. So 9 baby implings on the surface. Maximum, I probably won't even catch that many because I doubt I'll see that many. But I'll just start keeping track of that and say 9 for now. And then if we unlock young implings, it would be 9 baby and 9 young. And then the next tier after that, 9 of each until we unlock more chunks. Hey, if you're watching in the future, 44 Mining 2954, thank you so much for going off this shooting star. First person who's ever recognized me in game at a shooting star. I appreciate that. Oh wow, perfect timing. The shooting star despawned right as I hit 85 minings. We can now mine Runite without having to boost. Awesome. Okay, I got a bit before the next shooting star, so I'm going to go ahead and try to do fishing trawler. Currently, I just need 51 swamp paste. I can get max contribution with that, and I don't think I need to bring anything else. I'll bring a bailing bucket, I guess. Yeah, so I guess unfortunately with the way Bonfire Man works, I'm strictly nerfed by the improvement to fishing trawler, because previously it was a 1 in 8 drop, but it was a long game. Now it's a 1 in 12 drop in a short game, but I can still only do it once per cycle. I probably won't come up with any rule to address that. I'll just deal with it. The angler outfit's not a huge deal, but we'll see what happens. All right, doing fishing trawler for really the first time since they changed it. I think I can just sit and patch the hull though the whole time. Oh, that's interesting. You get a very small amount of construction XP. I might actually get a construction level from this. I guess one fishing trawler game per cycle is few enough that I could conceivably have problems if I go really dry on the angler outfit. So I might reassess once per cycle at construction 58. I might reassess the once per cycle thing once we've gotten 12 clears, so 12 cycles from now. If I still haven't seen a piece, that might change the math a little bit. We'll see. I wouldn't want to do anything like extreme. It would be at most like a couple games per cycle. Too bad I can't just farm this because this is pretty easy foot pedal. All right, I'm at max contribution, so I'm just gonna chill now. All right, game is done. It's basically like 0 effort. All right, come on, inspect trawler net. Oh, right on. Okay, well, we got the first piece on the first game, so that is incredibly exciting. And a boot. I should have put it in my bank. All right, it's a very, very, very minor boost to XP, but that's still cool. 3 more pieces then. The only thing left for me to do then is to buy out the charter shop and the general store. So I'm going to go take my cash over there and figure out what exactly I'm going to want to buy every cycle. I'm obviously going to get 51 swamp paste per cycle. I probably won't get more than that since it's pretty expensive here and there's not really a benefit to me hoarding it. So from the charter shop, I definitely want all 15 pineapples every cycle. So I'll add it to thing for that. Probably want the bananas and the oranges. The oranges are protection for maple trees? Yeah, so I'm going to buy out the oranges every time. It's 10. Bank these real quick. 5 baskets of bananas are required for curry trees, so buy all the bananas too. They're cheap as hell. Yeah, like 5 coins each, so I may as well. I'm going to take both ropes, all the seaweed, which is 20 seaweed, all the sand. This is my first real access to sand. I'm going to get 1 glass blowing pipe. I think that's my first ever glass blowing pipe. Probably going to buy out the buckets of slime. I'm not going to be able to use those forever until we get to Port Phasmatis, but it would be nice to have them built up at that point. I guess I don't really need to do that because I could also get slime just from the Ectofunctus. I don't think there'd be any limit on gathering that since it's only used in that mini game, and that's already limited by bones, so I wouldn't want to double dip on it. Buckets of slime. I'm not sure if all of these NPCs, because there's tons of trader stands trading posts all throughout the game, and I don't know if they all technically have different stock. I think the one in Prif at least has different stock. I'll have to find out. There's a total of 10 buckets of sand here. I'm gonna have to hop to get the rest of them. And I think 10 soda ash, so I'll do the same. Okay, I think I bought everything I'm gonna buy. I bought out the pots, jugs. Probably don't have to do that. The bowls and the cake tins. All right, cool thing with this shop is 30 ropes, which is probably more than I'll ever need, but I've been concerned about ropes because of things like Calcite Queen, so I'll probably be buying that out every single cycle. Also like 30 pots of flour, which could be good later on when I start making pies. All right, I also bought out the pots, the buckets, and the jugs, so mostly 30 rope, 30 pots of flour is the main thing I did there. And it'll be nice that these empty bucket packs and empty jug packs now will refresh every cycle, and that should cover me on both buckets and jugs for the life of the account. Okay, Port cont'd is done. Something I want to work on, I think I'm going to cook. I need AFK before shooting stars are available to get my editing done for the week. So I'm going to go to the Rogue's Den and cook all of this, everything that's safe from burning on a regular fire, and see if I can finish editing the video from that. Hey everybody, Feature Marstead here. Let's talk about the objectives overview for this episode. This is a pretty crazy episode in terms of content, so this is going to be really long. I highly encourage you to skip to the next time code if this kind of thing isn't your bag. First off, looking at 100% completed chunks. These are chunks in which we've exhausted all of the exhaustible nodes at least once in a prior cycle. This has gone up significantly since last episode because we've now applied the new rule clarification for quests. If a quest starts in a chunk, we just have to meet all of the skill requirements for that quest in order to mark that chunk complete. Lots of details about this in prior episodes. The short version is that quests aren't repeatedly exhaustible resources, and I probably never should have been requiring them to be completed in the first place. Having these chunks in green confers some benefits to us. The main benefit is that we get to skip all of the content in these completed chunks if we choose to, although there's many things in these chunks that I'm going to want to do anyway. Enemies with interesting drops, skilling nodes like mining, where I have a limited amount of the ore that I can get access to. And in addition to being optional, 100% completed chunks also confer some perks to a handful of skills that need help in order for this account to be mathematically possible. Trees may be chopped until they turn into stumps, fishing spots can be fished until the spot moves, we can pickpocket thieving NPCs 28 times each, we can mine shooting stars to depletion, we can run rooftop courses until a Mark of Grace spawns, and the shop stocks in these chunks refresh every cycle as opposed to only being able to be bought out once. This is where all of the big changes are from last episode, so I'm going to spend some time here. If you see a star icon on any of these, that means it's new for this cycle. So just going skill by skill for woodcutting, nothing new directly, although we can skip about 700 regular trees, which is going to be a massive time save for me, and we get a handful of extra rare trees. Fishing is similar to woodcutting, nothing brand new, although we do get a few more shrimp/herring nodes that we can fish until the fishing spot moves. Pickpocketing, because the Alcarid Palace is now marked complete, the Alcarid warriors in that chunk can each be pickpocketed 28 times each. So that sounds like a lot because there's 9 of them in that chunk, but it's like 6,300 thieving XP per cycle, so not a huge increase. Shooting stars at the bottom there, you'll notice I've changed the way this looks because I have the wonderful first world problem of having so many shooting stars that I couldn't fit them all along the bottom anymore. If you add all of those up, we have a total of 12 shooting stars available, but I have notes for each region. In Mistland, we now have 4 out of the 6 available stars. One of those is new. That is the Champions Guild star. I don't expect to get a lot of XP out of that star because there's a lot of foot traffic around there, so I'm not going to be able to get a full 2 hours. In the desert, there's a star right outside the Alcarid Bank, which is much worse than the Champions Guild star because it's so close to a bank and has so much foot traffic. If we even get an hour there, I'm going to be happy, because players just kind of run past it all the time and grab a pickaxe and mine it. No new stars in Asgarnia or in Soul Isle plus Feldip Hills. Those are the ones we've already had access to. The new star in Kandaren is the one at Port cont'd, the chunk we just rolled. Since we just 100% completed that chunk a few minutes ago, we're not going to benefit from being able to deplete this star until next cycle, but next episode we'll have another star there. And then finally, there is a new star in the wilderness, but I have an X there because I made a mistake. I did a sanity check for marking all of these chunks as 100% completed. I wanted to make sure that I had actually done every task that there was to do in those chunks, other than the quest. All of the chunks that I checked passed that sanity test except for this chunk. This is the Abyss chunk to the north of Edgeville. I never actually got around to coming here and making charged air orbs. My ruling for that is I can make an inventory worth of charged air orbs per cycle, kind of similar to the way I handle runecraft right now. So I'm not going to let myself mine that shooting star to depletion until I finish making those air orbs. Then for agility, we now can run the Alcarid rooftop course until a Mark of Grace spawns, and given that I just hit 40 agility, that means we're 20 levels higher than the course, which greatly decreases the spawn rate of Marks of Grace, which is actually a good thing for my account. It means I get to run more laps. And like thieving, this is less busted than it sounds. It's still going to be like less than 10k agility XP per cycle. And then that shop section is the craziest. I really had to condense this down. Previously, I was listing every item that I was going to buy out, and now I put a little plus icon on the items that represent an entire shop's worth of stuff. So let me run through these really fast. There are feather packs and everything else available at the fishing shops in both Oozer and Port Sarim. There's bronze bars, bowls of water, ropes, and a bunch of other things at the Shantae Pass shop. There's several varieties of nails at the plank shop. I can buy out the thread at both the Remington crafting shop and Al-Kharid crafting shop, so that's like 200 thread per cycle, which should cover me forever. I can buy out the rune stock at both the Void Knight Outpost and Port Sarim, which should cover me on runes forever. The pot of flour there represents a whole bunch of food from the food shop in Port Sarim and a handful of other shops like Ali and Al-Kharid sells like 15 raw chickens that I might pick up. The pineapple represents the charter ship shop where I'm going to buy a lot of stuff from there. I'm going to get the pineapples every time, the sand, the soda ash, and the seaweed. The next 3 items are all in Al-Kharid, the plate leg shop, the plate skirt shop, and the scimitar shop. I'm going to be buying out all of these every cycle because I can put them into Giant's Foundry and actually get more money back and smithing XP. Same for the battle axe shop in Port Sarim. I'm just going to dump it into Giant's Foundry. The Addy plate body is something I can buy in the Champions Guild. It's expensive, but I'm likely going to pick it up because it's worth 4 adamant bars. And then the bar in Berthorpe has Wizard Mind Bombs and Dwarven Stouts. Now, I did make a small mistake in Berthorpe that I'm going to correct in like an episode or 2. This one's less severe than the Wilderness one. I got the wrong count on archers in Berthorpe. I was under the impression that there was an archer that was just strictly inaccessible, but it turns out you can get to the 9th archer just by starting the Death Plateau quest, and you can do enough of the Death Plateau quest in that chunk that you don't have to go anywhere else to get to the archer. So here in an episode or 2, I'm just going to start Death Plateau and then kill the 9th archer, and as a show of good faith, do everything else there is to do in the Berthorpe chunk to formally mark it 100% completed. I didn't know this was an issue at this episode, so I do buy out the Wizard Mind Bombs and Dwarven Stouts, but once I learn it's a problem, I'll fix this in future episodes by just skipping buying out that stock until I make up for it. So yeah, that was a lot to go through, but that's everything that's changed for 100% completed chunk perks. If you were in any way worried about the rule adjustment to quests making the account super easy, not really. This saves a little bit of time for woodcutting and gets us a little bit more woodcutting XP and logs, gets us slightly more fishing XP, barely any thieving XP. Agility, it's significant because it'll make 47 agility possible, but it's still, like I said, less than 10k per cycle. The changes to shops here are mostly just going to be a bit of extra XP out of Giant's Foundry. I'm going to be able to make an extra sword or 2 there, maybe. The extra shooting stars are probably the most impactful in terms of XP per cycle. But like I already mentioned, the Champions Guild and Al-Kharid Bank stars are already pretty high foot traffic, so it's almost impossible that I'm going to get 2 hours of AFK time there anyway. So yeah, good stuff, not game-breaking stuff. We probably should have had access to it the entire time, but, you know, this is a experimental game mode, so we got to figure things out as we play. All right, so we're done talking about 100% completed chunks. Let's talk about the remaining blocked chunks. So these are chunks that we can't 100% complete for some reason. First up are quest blocked chunks. Now, we no longer care about actually completing quests that start in a chunk, only meeting the requirements for them, but quests are still able to block chunks indirectly. One of the new chunks we just unlocked, North Taverley, has the Heroes Guild quest, and because there are some exhaustible trees in the backyard of the Heroes Guild, that's blocking us from 100% completing the North Taverley chunk. Since this map has changed so much from prior episodes, I'm just going to talk through all of the other quest blocked chunks. Edgeville is miserably blocked from being completed by the room that Lucian is in. There are rats in that room that I can't kill because I can't get in the room because I haven't started the Temple of Ikov quest. The 2 Varrock chunks there are unfortunately both blocked by the Dig Site quest. I've done everything there is to exhaust in Varrock except for cleaning finds, and I think that's definitely going to have to count as an exhaustible task. It's a bummer because if we can 100% complete Varrock, then we can run the Varrock rooftop course until a Mark of Grace spawns, but we're going to have to finish the Dig Site quest first, which involves rolling the chunk that the Dig Site is in, and unlocking Herblore because that's a prerequisite for that quest. Another one of the chunks we just rolled today there in the southwest corner is Jiggig. We can't complete that chunk due to not being able to do Zogre Flesh Eaters. Here, the skill requirement isn't the problem, it's the fact that we can't actually get inside of Jiggig to fight the Skogres and Zogres that spawn in there. Up there in the northwest corner, the Barbarian Outpost is blocked by Alfred Grimhand's Barcrawl because we can't get into the Barbarian Agility course. And the Lighthouse is blocked by Horror from the Deep because we can't get inside of the Lighthouse. Now, we don't have to complete the Lighthouse necessarily, we just have to get far enough in the quest to enter the building and build the hard stash that's in there. Eventually, this is going to be an item-blocked chunk, because once I can get inside, I need teak planks to build that. But unfortunately, Horror from the Deep requires Alfred Grimhand's Barcrawl, so
It's a very long ways off. Cool, so after quest blocked chunks, we have skill blocked chunks. You'll notice that this has expanded a bit from prior episodes. You probably recall that we need 82 construction to build master stashes in those 2 construction chunks, which will likely never happen on this account. We need 47 agility to boost to 50 for the Falador rooftop course, and 67 agility to boost to 70 for the Polnavniche rooftop course. The other 3 chunks were previously quest-blocked chunks that are now effectively skill-blocked. In changing the rules about quests, we still said we have to meet the skill requirements for the quest to mark the chunk complete. I think this is an important stipulation because qualifying for quests is what makes many skill levels interesting. A lot of these skills, like Herblore, don't really have exhaustible tasks associated with them, so this kind of gives them a way for the world to care about my Herblore levels. So the top right corner there is Silvaria. That's the chunk with the limestones and the bats. I need to be able to qualify for Rag and Bone Man 2, which requires 40 Slayer. In the bottom left, the Bedabin camp is where Desert Treasure starts. I qualify for Desert Treasure and all of its prerequisites, except one of its prerequisites requires an Herblore level that I can't get because Herblore is still locked. And then Lumbridge, my starting chunk, has a million quests that start there, and I qualify for almost all of them except, of course, for Recipe for Disaster. I actually qualify for a lot of the skills for Recipe for Disaster, but the big one obviously is Herblore. Like, it doesn't matter if I can eventually level up Agility if I just can't train Herblore at all. So if we end up rolling South Taberley and unlock Herblore, I would still expect this chunk to stay skill locked based on some other skill like Agility that we need to level up, but it's feasible that we might be able to complete it in the future. On the subject of skills, Slayer is still blocked because I can't do this Desert Lizard task. I have to roll one of those 3 chunks in red there. After that, we have item blocked chunks. We still need a big fishing net and a bird snare to finish up the Soul Isle. And finally, chunk blocked chunks. This is mostly the same as last episode, although I've added Camelot as a chunk blocked chunk. Camelot used to be quest blocked, but we meet the requirements for both Holy Grail and Merlin's Crystal. The problem now is that there are ice giants that spawn up on the hill in the corner that we can't get to. And that concludes our overview. This was a really long one. Thank you for sticking with it. Let's get back to the playthrough. 68 cooking. Cooking 69. Nice. 70 cooking. All right, I'm done with all my cooking, but I still have some work to do and no room for shooting stars at the moment, so I'm just going to start working on fletching. I'm nowhere near high enough fletching to make the magic short bow, even with all of my banked logs, but I'm just going to start fletching these into bows. Fletching 67. 69 fletching. Nice. 70, I can finally use all my U logs, which is going to be a nice breakpoint, but we're not going to get anywhere close to being able to use this for anything. I got a Jekyll random while standing here, so that's another agility potion. Got 8 of those so far. I'm going to be able to go hog wild with them eventually. There it is at last. 70 fletching. Now do U longbows, so I'm going to use all my U's here in a second. 71 fletching. I think that's the furthest I'm going to get. I'm going to keep doing it here because I need the AFK for reasons I'll talk about in a second. All right, so the reason I've been working on fletching, even though I'm nowhere near it being relevant, and cooking, even though I don't really need the food for anything right now, was because I desperately needed AFK. I didn't have availability for shooting stars. And the reason I desperately needed AFK was to get everything caught up now that we've implemented the rule adjustment with quests. All right, mining Runite for the first time without a boost. This is just going to become routine now. But I probably will end up using this whenever we get to, I think it's 85 smithing. Oh, I completely forgot you get rune ore from Motherlode Mine. That's cool. That might matter once we get up there in smithing levels. All right, ended up with a total of 4 golden nuggets combined, which is not great. We should be getting like 6. I'm going to be really far behind on getting access to that upper level, but when it happens, man, everything's going to change. It's painful. I've got the last step of a clue right here in the crystal chest room, just south of my unlocked chunk. Oh well. I have a notification now for baby implings, which is pretty funny. I have to wield it? Okay, yeah. Oh, I need an impling jar. I guess only when you can barehand it do you not need the jar. Didn't realize that. Okay. Yeah, that's 1 surface impling. I guess I'm just gonna like informally track them here and I'll delete it between cycles. It's gonna be annoying to track otherwise. A spirit seed from a bird's nest. That's pretty cool. I'd probably never be able to plant it. It's level 83 farming, but right on. I have access to a spirit tree patch. All right, back on shooting stars. I'm here at 1 in Remington. Got a solid hour and 43 minutes out of that one. I'm heading to the next one. Yep, got it at Soul Wars T4. Let's go. Ended up getting an hour and 54 minutes out of this one. Somebody showed up right towards the end. That same person who showed up at Mage Training Arena earlier showed up again, and I was like, hey, this is the only star I can mine. If no worries if you can't, but if I can point you to another one, that'd be cool. And they were like, I know this isn't the only star you can mine because I watch your videos. So 44 mining, if you're watching this in the future, sorry, that's usually just what I type because I have to fit as much as I can into 2 lines of text. Obviously, I do have other stars I could mine, but this is the only one in Soul Wars I can mine for this cycle. So if I run out, if I only get an hour and a half out of it, I lose 30 minutes, right? Thank you for hopping. I appreciate that. So I'm a pretty small content creator, so a little spooky. I ended up getting another star here at East Lumbered Swamp. Cool guy here named Horde Chunks, who's also a chunk locked Iron Man, based on trying to get stacks of 1,000 unique items at the time, mining shooting stars to try to get stacks of 1,000 gems. Pretty cool. So shout out to Horde Chunks. I don't know if you have your YouTube series up yet by the time this has been published, but if you did, post in the comment a link. People can check it out. Currently miserably working on cutting normal trees. Here comes 82 wood cutting. Okay. Got a baby impling here I'm trying to catch over by Castle Wars, just finishing up my wood cutting. I had some issues with recording there, but I just got my first ever star at the Champions Guild. It was only about an hour because it was World 302 and it was public, but hey, it's better than nothing. Over here doing fishing. This is the absolute worst place to see a baby impling. It just flew across the river. I don't even know if I caught it on footage there. Okay, going for it now. Actually, I think I am going to hit the limit. We'll see how many more of these I run into, depending on if they escape me or not. Baby number 5, so 4 to go from surface, and I haven't done Puro since lighting the bonfire. Do you believe another one spawned immediately in front of me over here in this corner by these shrimps? Hunter level 19. Tropical wagtails. Okay. I think 22 is the next level that matters, and I can do young implings. I'm a dummy. I actually forgot to have the angler's hat on earlier. I think I lost out on like 7 XP or something. It's a really minuscule XP boost. I might start saving spirit flakes to upgrade the angler's set. See, I don't know how worth it is. I think it's basically just cosmetic until you do the full set. About to ding 65 fishing, which I don't think is a significant level. Karambuan, that's why I remember that number. All right, it might be significant one day, but it's ways off. I think that because of the way minnows work in the fishing guild, I shouldn't try to upgrade any of my angler pieces until I have the full set unlocked and have enough to upgrade the whole set. So maybe I'll just start saving spirit flakes, we'll see. Probably better for me to use them on getting food. All right, got a shooting star in West Swamp. All right, made it a full 2 hours on that one. Have a handful more, 1, 2, 3, 4 to go. It's Guardian Road. Oh, things are going okay here, and now there's 4 other people here. Yeah, it's about to get swarmed, I think. All right, this thing's about to deplete. I got like an hour out of it though, so could have been worse. Turned in some Stardust while I was over here for a clue. About 2 million GP worth of gems here. Pretty good. Got us to 76 crafting. Don't think that's anything. I should double check what my next objective is. I think it might be 80 for Amulet of Glory. Yeah, barring access to new resources like Dragonhide, 80 is the next time I care, so I'm just going to hold on to them until then. All right, actually got a casket. Let's see what we got here. Nothing. I'm having issues now. They added a new profile system to RuneLight, and sometimes I'll go to try to unload my previous markers, and they'll all come back. So I did not chop any trees here in Draenor, even though they're all marked. I just got to figure out a solution. I think I just have to turn off cloud syncing to make sure it's not reloading old settings. All right, next shooting star is at the Alcarid Bank. I expect I will never be able to get 2 hours of AFK here simply because people are going to walk out of the bank and want to mine it. So I'll keep an eye out and see what happens, but we'll see if I get an hour. Yep, already got one person here. That's okay. Hoping for at least 30 minutes. Ended up being about 50 minutes, so close to an hour. That's nice. Hello, it's a genie. I'm out here to fish. I'm going to put this lamp on agility again. It's so nice to be lamping agility. I want to get to 47 for the Falador rooftop course. 400 XP is not very much, but it's like 10% of the way there, so it'll help us get there. All right, heading into Temporas. I'm going to start saving my spirit flakes from now on. I guess what I'll do is so long as I have angler pieces that I could turn into spirit angler pieces, I'll save those flakes. It's hard to say because lifetime I haven't gotten enough flakes to equal even a single angler upgrade. So maybe using them on fish is smarter since it's, you know, more resources, but I don't know. I'll try to hold on to them. All right, 10 permits. It's so easy. Been watching Limpward again. He's on Temporis right now, and he's doing masses. He's not doing the 10 permit method. I guess I get it, because if you do make a mistake, you do waste the whole round, and that sucks. It's kind of the same argument I was making about, hey, maybe don't do the 2 account method because it's high risk. But this one, I don't know. If you practice it enough, it's like super easy. All right, let's see. 10 rewards. Give me something good. Ah, casket. What is in the casket? That is potentially important. Let me double check. That is my only way to get red topaz right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and chisel them right now because I need to know exactly how many of those I actually have available. Probably not going to be very many. I have a bad history of breaking these. Chiseling them and seeing how many I have, and then I'll go look them up and see what I might use them on. I'm going to save 2 uncut because I don't remember if there's like a quest or something that requires them uncut. I'll double check that too here in a second. Quest Helper actually can tell you this now. This shows me all the items for quests I haven't already completed. I can see that, in fact, cut red topazes are required, so I'm going to save 2 of these. Uncut ones are not, so I'll just finish cutting the last 2 here. Nice plugin feature. So I need to save 2 of these so I can use the remaining 6. So let me see what I can do with that. All right, so things I can make with topaz. There's the burning amulet. Technically, if I turned all 8 of these into burning amulets, that would be 40 teleport charges, which I don't think is enough for me to feel comfortable adding those teleport destinations in the wilderness onto the chunk picker. I also don't think I can directly get out of some of those locations. I'd have to double check. So I don't think it's going to affect the chunk roller. But I can also make bracelets of slaughter, which have the chance to extend a slayer task, which is probably pretty good, especially if I get a slayer task that I can actually do on this account. I might want to save these to use with bracelets of slaughter. There's also the necklace of faith, which is useless, and a Farate's aid, which I think is also useless. So yeah, well, I guess I said 8, really would be 6 that I could make. So whenever we get another Slayer task, I might put these the bracelets of slaughter, but that's still pretty cool that we have topazes now. All right, I am running the Alcarid course until a Mark of Grace spawns for the first time ever. So we'll see how many laps we get. I am 20 levels above the course, so we might be lucky. All right, I'm on lap number 5 so far and no mark. Man, lap 10, I might get 41 agility. Now that I've said that, I'm almost certainly going to get one to spawn next cycle. Man, I'm kind of getting a little excited here. I'm looking up Mark of Grace spawn rates, and the spawn rate for Alcarid Marks of Grace is like significantly lower than Draenor. Part of that probably has to do with the length of the course, but I think there's also just kind of a fundamental spawn chance. It's not just based on lap count. So we'll see. Maybe going 20 laps is going to be pretty common. Yeah, if I'm doing my math right, I think I might be able to get on average 30 minutes of agility. That's so much agility. I mean, it sucks to be at this course, but we'll see what the actual lap count ends up being. But oh, one finally spawned. Wait, can I not get it because of this rooftop problem? Oh dear, I've never seen this before. Hold on. I can't loot this. This is bad. I think it's gonna despawn soon. It's just that I can't click on that tile. And I have hide roofs turned off, so I don't know what's causing this. I don't know if this is a... Let me see if logging out causes it to despawn. I don't think it does. Might figure out. Is it low detail? It's low detail mode. Okay, I was able to pick it up before it despawned. I just have to turn that off. That's interesting. I was trying to figure out why that was the case. Ended up being like 18 laps, I think, which is still really, really good. We will definitely get a level up from the Draenor course. All right, I'm here in Alcarid. I'm about to pickpocket these warriors 28 times each for the first time. It's only going to be like 6,000 XP, so I don't even think that's going to be a level up, but there are like 9 of them, so it's a decent improvement in thieving XP. All right, working on thieving over here, about to hit 64. There it is. 64 thieving, one more level. I don't think I have any access to boosts. One more level and I can do both the Summer Garden and Menophyte Thugs, which is a pretty big deal. I only got the clue step to use that black axe that I got from a black demon drop. Probably still gonna have to throw out the clue, but I guess we'll see what happens. Oh, never mind, I got a casket. Oh, well, I'm here. No. Oh, that's kind of cool looking. All right, I got my second to last star here over in Varrock. After this, just Alkareed Mine to go. Doing my one lap at the Varrock course. Can't do this one until the Mark of Grace spawns because there's fines that I can't clean here. But I just hit 41 agility. 6 more to go. Get the agility out of the way. I'm going to do the rooftop course at Draenor now. We'll see how we do on spawn rate. All right, looks like it spawned on lap 15, which is pretty good. I'll take it. All right, I'm out of watermelon seeds, so I'm going to start planting sweet corn now that I have a scarecrow. And I'll just do this until I run out of sweet corn seeds. Placing my first scarecrow here. There we go. I guess that was a medium task in the Falador area. Nice. All right, got everything planted. Did some more super compost, which is nice. Probably going to turn the... I'm going to save some of these watermelons, as I think I need some watermelons and some pineapples for quests. I think you have to like cut them up for something, so I'll double check that exactly. I'm going to go ahead and plant trees here as well. I think I have a willow sapling and a maple sapling. I can now pay for protection because I can buy those oranges. All right, so I'm mostly done with the skilling portion of the cycle. It's time to start working on PVM, and I have some notes for you on PVM. I want to try doing a cycle where I skip as many creatures as I possibly can from among the list of creatures I'm able to skip. So I've gone back through the list of chunks that are 100% complete, and unless if I absolutely need to kill something because it provides something unique, like the Calphite Queen or Calphite Guardians, I'm skipping almost every enemy. So I've got this list of combat tasks down pretty significantly if you compare it to last episode. There's only 67 enemy types, although this is still probably going to take a really long time. I kind of just want to eyeball how much time this actually saves me, because I think getting more cycle rules at this point is more important than getting weird random like Onko rune drops or Catablepin rune drops or whatever I'm going for elsewhere. I'm still going to kill mammoths, for example, even though that isn't a 100% completed chunk, just because they drop prayer potions and it's the only source of peapot doses that I have. They also have pretty good seed drops. And I'm going to kill the same number of moss giants, for example, but I'm just trying to pare this down as much as humanly possible. Okay, I think I may have found the gold farmers again. Just hopping worlds until I found one that had a bunch of weird people on it. So I'll give it a try using the same strategy as last time. Different world than last time. They have different gear this time. Some of them, they were all like active before. Everyone was chatting in Spanish. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't have everyone on the team collude to not fight each other. Yep, everyone's just here. Literally everyone on the red team is attacking the avatar, and I guess there's one person who's in charge of decreasing its shield, and then we just gonna take turns killing it, and then probably go stand in the middle. Cheese this group is doing seems slightly different from the cheese that I encountered with the like people who are all speaking Spanish before. No one's talking here. Are these bots? They look like bots if I right click on them. I feel less comfortable with this if this is bots. I'm okay doing it if it's a bunch of just like human gold farmers who have picked a world to work together on. I guess I could come here and disrupt them and just start killing them and probably ruin their day. All right, so we technically lost the game. So I got 27 zeal, which is actually pretty bad because we didn't do the little trick at the end where you stand on both sides. So yeah, I guess I won't do anything with these folks. I think the gold farmers were doing a better job than the bots. I guess the bots don't care about the extra effort required to like get 60 points for everyone, right? Because they just want everyone to get points for free, and it's still guaranteed. But the gold farmer method was people would actually collaborate at the end to switch control to make sure everyone got max points. So I'll just do the normal world for the rest of my points here. All right, doing it in a real game this time without farmers or bots. All right, let's see how this game with real people actually goes here. 50 zeal, so as good as you can get for losing. All right, so that's 77 for the cycle, so we're done. All right, opening these spoils of war. Death runes and 25k, not bad. Nature runes, very not bad. And a dragon mace, which I won't be able to use without the Heroes Guild quest. Okay, these are good though. All right, about to get a mystery box. Let's see what we get here. An old boot. Okay.
So I'm going to be skipping basically all of the Stronghold of Security, but I'm still going to kill the fancy level 159 zombie here. And I just got possibly one of the first interesting drops ever. I did get a Dragon Bone drop from this guy, finally, like 15 cycles ago or something. 50 Chaos Runes is pretty good, though. I am still going to kill any enemies that drop a unique, like, Herblore secondary, like Unicorns, so I've left those on the list as not skippable. I'm having a really bad time this cycle in terms of making small, stupid mistakes. So these Outlaws, I still have to kill them because I haven't finished the Edgeville chunk, and I haven't finished the Edgeville chunk because of those stupid rats in there that I can't get to. But they're very weird enemies. They respawn, like, instantly on the tick in which they die, and there's only 10 of them. So I killed the 10th one and then went to click the coins or whatever that it dropped. I guess the rope, and then another one spawned at the same instant, and I one-shot it. Lots of little errors like this in this cycle. You know, I always make errors every single cycle, but I've got a lot of makeup to do here. Look at all this, misclicking stuff all over the place. I'll explain these towards the end of the cycle, but it hurts me whenever it happens because I can't like undo it. All right, jumping on these basalt rocks. I'm gonna go one direction and then back the other direction. That's all there is to do here, really. There it is, attack 71. I'm doing 2 more before I switch to defense. All right, so since we did Cavalry without lighting a bonfire, because you physically can't light one here, I do have to kill this White Knight and the Druids here again. So you're going to see those basically double counted. It's lighting the bonfire respawn them. Got the Druid robe drop here. It is not an upgrade. My Shade robe is better. All right, checking health on this maple tree. It might give me a farming level up. Oh, it sure did. Farming 46. Triple willow roots. Okay, I'm going to plant this oak sapling. 46 is nice. That puts us in boost range to do Fairy Tale Part 2, which I don't know if we'll ever do, but, well, I'm sure we'll do it eventually, but we need a lot of chunks to be able to complete it. I need to look up what the next exciting breakpoint is for farming, because watermelons was a pretty big one. So I still have dwarves and dwarf gang listed as need to kill. I'm actually going to delete these because I have completed that section of the dwarven mine. Scorpions as well, I'm going to go ahead and delete. I have to fix my spreadsheet because right now it doesn't discriminate between surface and subsurface chunks, and there are certain situations where the surface chunk is incomplete, but the subsurface chunk is complete, and that's what I have to prepare for. Crazy caskets this this cycle. Good luck. Let's see what we get. Okay. Well, this one, I feel like I should just drop it. I could eventually get one of these that lets me fight a Brassican mage, and they might have an interesting drop table. Let me check. Oh yeah, Brassican mages have a chance to drop a full prayer potion. 1 in 25, which isn't too bad. See, I can't get to this one, so I'm going to drop it, but sometime in the future I'll keep a master clue step. All right, I'm on my last shooting star for this cycle. Let's get this done. About to ding 86 mining. There it is, 86. I'm not going to get the full 2 hours. There is somebody else here, but that's okay. All right, that's my last shooting star for the cycle. I'm going to get back to PVM here. Before I do any more PVM, I'm going to try to go ahead and get the Penance Boots, because after getting those, I no longer have any unique items I want for my Barbarian Assault, and I'm just going to switch to doing gambles. I will be able to do a high gamble and a low gamble this cycle. The boots are going to take the place of the medium gamble. I was able to get Collector, which is good, because that's what I need. I actually found a group that made it to wave 10 for the first time in like forever. Probably a side effect of doing these in the morning lately instead of waiting for like prime time on a Friday. All right, so that went really well. 391 collector points. I should be able to get the boots now, so I'm going to do that. That will be skipping the medium gamble. Penance boots. Accept. Sweet. Yeah, and those are just strictly better than what I've currently been using, the iron boots, and I don't think I find a replacement for them for quite some time. They're also best in slot for me for magic and range for a while, so that's pretty neat. Now we can just do gambles, which is lovely. So gambles, I need do a low gamble and a high gamble. So I need 200 points in any roll. I guess I can already do with collector, and then 500 points in any roll for the high gamble. So I guess I'll do the low one first to be beyond wave 2. Man, it's going to be annoying to tell people I have to step out to redeem that. I'll figure it out, I guess. All right, I have to leave the group on wave 10 to go redeem the stupid low gamble, but I'm going to do it real fast. Low gamble. Accept. Collector. 197 chaos runes. I'll take it. Man, what a day. 3 groups, 3 penance queen kills. That doesn't happen. Now, I did have a group where someone was on mobile and had 0 idea at all how to do defender, but we still killed the PQ, so that's better than someone abandoning
wave like 7 or 8. That's what I'm used to. All right, that went really well. Got points to spare on attacker too. So let's go get a high gamble here. My first high gamble in a really long time. I did a couple on that very first cycle there. Here we go, high gamble, attacker. Oh my God, not again. 28 uncut diamonds, which is possibly one of the worst things I can get, since I have such crazy access to gems from shooting stars. Oh well, bummer. Well, I finally got a drop from these guys. I got the most boring one possible. Although I guess it is used for a master clue, but I think you can buy one of them. All right, I got these little chakrams. That's neat, I guess. Got a maze random here. Let's see what we get. One of my worst maze randoms in the history of this account and in my RuneScape history, but fortunately I didn't drop any coal, so I missed out on some nature runes and some steel arrows, but if it had dropped coal, I would have been sad. All right, I'm here at Calcite Queen. Here we go. All right, up to phase 2. Let's see how this goes. Oh, got a record fast kill that time. Rune chain body, sharks, and an ensouled Calcite head. It was like a 6-minute phase 2, which is pretty fast for me. Believe it or not, I did find 9 implings in this cycle. This is the last one here. I still have to do ones in Puro. Maybe I'll do that next before I start working on Giant's Foundry. Yeah, 9 surface implings. Very nice. All right, heading into Puro, we're going to catch 34 more baby implings. And just to confirm our counts here, 9 baby implings on the surface. Hey, future Marstead, real quick. I explained this earlier, but if you're wondering what's he doing in Puro twice, remember I got the lamp before I lit the bonfire at the start of the episode. So the lamp that got me to 17 Hunter was technically still last cycle. I probably should have included it at the end of last week's recording, but I didn't realize that I wasn't allowed to light a bonfire in Jiggig. So yeah, we did all of Puro once, and then I lit a bonfire and it all came back. So that's why we kind of get a twofer here. 34 from last cycle, so we got to get this up to 68. I'm gonna get another Hunter level once I catch another baby impling, which might be a second. There it is. Hunter 20. 2 more levels until young implings, I think. Continuing to just convert all of my baby implings into jars because I want to make sure I have plenty of jars and I don't really need anything from the baby implings for now. All right, I'm over here at Giant's Foundry. Got to wrap this up, pick up a couple optional items, do construction and Sorceress's Garden, and then we're done. All right, buying the Rundoku runes. Okay, I'll take 32 cosmic runes. Over here buying out all these shop stocks. I'm gonna see what this does to my money. Should have done this before Giant's Foundry, so I guess I'll just have extra stock for next Giant's Foundry. Ah, god damn it. I got a genie to spawn right as I went through this portal, and apparently that causes it to despawn. Painful. All right, all I got left for this cycle is Last Man Standing. Here's the supplies tracker pre-Last Man Standing. Got a lot of usage out of my supplies this time. First game was 2 points only. Oh well. Ended up in second place in the next one, so a total of 6 points so far. I'm gonna get 1 more. Well, I got my 1 point in this game. We'll see if I survive long enough to get more than just 7 for the cycle. I'm actually trying more often. I came pretty close to winning the last game. I just didn't have enough food. Yeah, no, of course, I died immediately. 7 points. All right, we'll just get some more adamant arrows, and then we'll go sum up the chunk. All right, we're at the end of the cycle, so let's sum things up. First off, total time played, 46 days, 17 hours. There is the live split timer, about 51 hours, 7 minutes. So 9 hours over previous cycles. The big change there was I spent a bunch of time cooking and fletching in order to get some editing done. And we also had several new shooting stars. Not the Edgeville Ditch or Port Khazard, but Champions Guild and Alcreed Palace contributed to that quite a bit. We'll be interested to see where this is going forward, but this also takes into account the fact that I greatly pared down the combat tasks. Let me talk you through all the tasks really fast. Well, I'm just going to click through them and pause if you want to see them. This is already really long right now. Did do the Alcreed course. That made a huge difference, being able to run it until the Mark of Grace spawned. Way more stuff on the shops list. I bought these at the very end. I'll use them in Giant's Foundry next cycle. After this, we'll no longer be skipping gambles, so I'm just going to delete that. Lots of errors this time. I still haven't fixed the Polnavnich Unbearded Bandit pickpocket from like a couple cycles ago, so I'm just carrying it over again. Overall, this really isn't that impactful, the account. It's not like I got to level up out of it or anything, but I need to fix these. Combat tasks significantly pared down from before. And those are our implings. All right, here's the XP gain summary on the right there. 1.3 million XP gain this cycle. Pretty solid. Most of that coming from fletching, cooking, mining, obviously, and wood cutting. Yeah, numbers are looking pretty good. There's still some skills that are really bad, like construction, farming, agility, hunter, even with baby implings, right? But I have a hope that some of these will catch up as we unlock more chunks. And there's the delta, obviously fletching and cooking our way up because I spent way more time on it. Mining is up a bit from getting 2 additional shooting stars, although they're both in pretty popular areas, so I don't know how much that's actually going to change things on average going forward. Everything else is within our usual tolerances. Wood cutting is actually up despite cutting so many regular trees. It's up by 25k simply because of all of the extra oak, willow, and yew trees that we can now chop to depletion. So the regular trees basically count for nothing when it comes to woodcutting XP. There's almost no loss there. And then agility is way up, 4457. 400 of that is from a lamp, but the rest of that pretty much is from the Alcarid rooftop course, being able to run that repeatedly. And obviously we can see hunters up to like 1500. Just from being able to catch baby implings. That should go down next cycle because that included doing Puro once before lighting the bonfire and then again after the bonfire. So it's probably more like 750, I would guess. And you can see attack is way down there at the bottom. That's just from greatly paring down the number of enemies that we're fighting per cycle. Let's move on from XP and look at the loot tracker. You're going to see way fewer entries here because I pared down what we're killing. So this includes stuff that we have to kill and stuff where I really need the loot because it's the only source of like an herblore secondary, or just because I didn't want to skip it, like the Calphite Queen. Technically we can skip the Calphite Queen, but I feel like it's worth getting my 1 kill per cycle. It could be important one day. Random events, you'll see this sad genie. Despawned. It spawned right as I was clicking a zone boundary and then despawned instantly. It made me very sad. We had the earlier genie too that got us the hunter level up. Of course, let's check out the bank. Lots of new items this time. Achy tree logs, some keys, baby impling jars, regular impling jars, the angler hat, a baling bucket, some pineapples, oranges, bananas, although I've had those in the past. Buckets of slime, soda ash, a bunch of yew longbows unstrung, butterfly net, spirit seed that I'll probably never get to use, some red topazes, a trim steel full helm, bottle of wine, 2 nasturtiums, a dragon mace, druid's robe, the runner boots, which I'm going to use as my fashion scape. I think they match the crown pretty well there. The chakrams, and then the 20 empty cups. I'm going to clean those up really quick. We are going to hit the bank limit somewhat soon, so I'm probably going to have to get around to moving some of this stuff into my POH, but I'm just going to hold out for as long as I can. All right, let's do our slow scroll. Not so slow scroll. And then finally, let's look at the delta. Here's the change in the bank from last cycle, still coming up on law runes, even though we were a bit low from the Alcarid shop this time. Overall, looking pretty good. Coins, under on coins, but I think that might change next cycle as long as I make everything that I bought this cycle into swords here at the Giants Foundry. I think I'm going to start breaking even again, and it's just going to equal extra smithing XP and reputation gain. I guess while I'm here really quick, I need to grab some more catalysts, so I'll do that. I'll let you know how many I get. 47 catalysts. Yeah, so that about does it for the summary. Let's go ahead and roll a new chunk. All right, here we are on the chunk picker. Let's talk about stuff that's new. Obviously around Port Khazard, we have these 3 chunks here. Probably need to get these marked. I think Tower of Life is relatively boring. You might be able to do the quest there. We'll see when we get there. I don't know if it has any prerequisites. Fight Arena, I think, is relatively boring. Hazelmere's Island is boring. There's a couple places we can get to now via charter ship via Port Khazard. So there's Corsair's Cove, which is necessary to complete a quest. That would be nice. There's north of Brimhaven, which pretty much just has a fruit tree patch, but that would be new content for me. I haven't been able to exhaust fruit trees, and I do have some fruit tree seeds that I haven't been able to plant, so I would not be mad about that. Musa Point was already rollable. I guess technically now we can get both here and this side, depending on how we roll it. And then Catherby was already rollable, so not a lot for charter ships in terms of new rollable chunks. We've already been able to get to most of those locations. I still need to update all these icons. I'm going to get to that eventually, I promise. Right now, I just want to get to rolling the chunk, so let's do that now. Let's see what we get. No whammies, please. Give me a good one. Valador South Wall. Is this the one with the air altar? Yeah. All right, so I obviously haven't been killing any of the border chunk monsters. I have killed all of these except the fire wizard before. This is not a reroll simply because there is the air altar here finally, and I'll be able to use talismans here for the combination runes that are technically there. That's potentially pretty neat. There's also a chainmail shop, so that's cool. We might be able to 100% this chunk. I don't see anything that I can't do off the top of my head here. If we can 100% it, I'll be able to buy out this chainmail shop every cycle, which will be great for Giant's Foundry. So yeah, this is a nice roll. I'm not mad about it. I need more runecraft XP. Yeah, I'll look forward to it. Cool, so next cycle, air altar, and we'll do another 50 hours of this or so. We'll see you next episode. Bye, everybody.